Hi guys, today I'm talking about ways to start eating healthier and moving towards a more plant-based diet. So I have had a really interesting journey with food and eating meat and eating junky food. When I grew up, I ate, when I was a teenager and when I was a child, I ate the grossest food. I would eat anything. My go-to meal was a Whopper Junior with cheese, upgraded to large, from Burger King and Hungry Jack's, and I would have that twice a day. So I didn't know anything about nutrition, which was kind of beautiful in many ways because it liberated me from focusing and fixating on my food. I just got to be a kid. I got to be a teenager, which I'm really glad that I didn't overly obsess about. I actually think kids and teenagers these days, they can have a more simplistic approach to food. I am glad I now know about nutrition, and if I had known about it when I was a teenager, my whole world would have turned upside down because I was eating the junkiest crap you could imagine. And nothing was off limits. I ate whatever I wanted. I wasn't educated in any way. I loved animals, but I didn't care enough about animals to stop eating meat, and I was very disconnected to my food. I didn't really piece it together that the ravioli with meat inside of it used to be a cow with a face and a personality and a heart and was a loving creature who just wanted to survive. I never had that connection. I was just like, yum, meat's delicious, comes in little packages, I chop it up, I make it. I just didn't think about the reality of where my meat was coming from. And it wasn't actually until 2008 was when I first made the real connection that I couldn't ignore. I was like, that I am a hypocrite because I would so enjoy loving on little chickens and going to these petting zoos and being with animals, and who doesn't love snuggling up to a little baby lamb or, patting a cow and going and feeding animals and, being with goats, and who doesn't love that? I think we, especially parents, we take our kids to petting zoos all the time, but it's crazy to think that we can switch off that part of our mind when it comes to eating animals. It's just the food is yummy. We don't see it in its whole. We don't kill the animal, so the disconnection is there. We just eat what we eat because we like it. So finally in 2008, I started really looking at it, and I was like, how can I be someone who's like, I love animals so much. I want to rescue dogs. I don't want any animal to be in suffering, yet I'm contributing to their suffering. So I decided, I can't do it all at once. I'm just going to get rid of red meat. And I had started realizing that when I would eat red meat, my body was getting tired. So I was like, all right, I'm going to stop eating red meat. So I stopped eating red meat, and I didn't miss it. And in fact, I had more energy. So I was like, all right, this is cool. A few years later, about 2009, 10, probably 2010, I stopped eating chicken. And anything else like chicken, turkey, whatever. And I had also stopped eating ham. And I was feeling even better. And I was like, okay, I'm done with chicken now, okay. I had watched a couple of documentaries about how chickens are treated. And then also I had done a lot of research into the stuff that gets pumped into chickens. And I realized that I was probably eating a lot of contaminated meats, and there was no way to really know that what the meat I was eating was clean. I was like, I don't want anything. I don't want a dead animal. I don't want to be ingesting a dead animal. So then I was like, well, then I'll just keep eating fish. fish is great. I love going to sushi. It's one of my favorite things to eat. And I was that way up until a year ago. Loved sushi. And I guess in a really, it's just interesting to observe, but I was in a place where I just didn't care about fish the way I cared about land animals. I didn't have the same compassion for fish as I did land animals. It wasn't until my son made the connection. Bodhi was in Whole Foods. We saw a couple of fish dead in the area where you buy your meat, and they were whole fish, so he recognized them. And we had just been snorkeling actually the week prior, and he was like, "Why aren't they swimming in the sea, Mummy?" I was like, "Oh well, they're dead. People eat them. They're dead." He's like, "Why did they die?" And I was like, "Well, a fisherman caught them, and then they died so that we can eat their meat." And he was like, "I don't want to eat them. I want to put them back in the ocean." And I suddenly was watching my son, and I was realizing that he's having the moment of connection between animal and food. And then from that day on, he said, "I'm not eating fish." So he didn't eat fish. I kept eating fish. And then every time I would eat fish, Bodhi was really upset with me. So I decided to let go of my attachment to eating the fish and see how I went. We dropped the fish. A few months later, we dropped the cheese. We're now vegan. We eat vegan. We're still in the beginning of our transitioning to vegan journey. But I definitely feel a lot better. And I feel more true to my beliefs. And sorry, one second, I'm just trying to here we go. I wrote some notes down here too. I definitely feel more true to who I am and what my beliefs are. I think that choosing plant-based food doesn't mean you have to be vegan. It doesn't mean you have to be vegetarian. It doesn't mean you have to be anything. You can be a flexitarian. You can be someone who chooses to eat meat once a week, or at least cut down on your meat consumption. When you become someone who eats less meat, a vegan, for instance, every year saves 100 animals by being vegan. Someone who cuts down on meat is saving many animals still. And one of the biggest deadly impacts on the environment is meat consumption. So by choosing less meat, we're saying yes to the environment, which I think is so beautiful and important. And we want the environment to be growing and to be vibrant and to be lush for our children and our children's children. And right now the planet is dying. So if we can make these small steps towards helping our environment flourish again, that's a really beautiful choice. I also think we need to get very real with ourselves. And some people have the connection and know that, yep, these animals are being killed in this way, and I'm eating its meat, and I'm grateful to the animal, and that's my choice. Others are still disconnected. So I think it's about really going in deep, and finding that connection, and then making your decision based from there. Even if it means that you stop eating bacon every single day and you lessen it, fantastic. What a beautiful, healthy choice you're making for yourself, for animals, and for the environment. It just is little baby steps. It's about shopping on the outside lanes of the grocery store, which is always where the fruits and veggies are. All the middle lanes have the packages. So anything that comes in a package typically has preservatives in it and has additives and various things. That's very hard for our body to break down. So if we can stay on the outsides and we're picking organic produce, it's so much better for ourselves. Even if you make a commitment to twice a week I eat fully organic, and twice a week I am really committed to eating lush, healthy vegetables and the majority of my meal will be made up from luscious greens and veggies and good, healthy, complex carbs. If you start with 2 days a week, fantastic. Then you can move your way up. 2 days a week, I won't eat animals. 3 days a week, I won't eat animals. Maybe you'll get to the point where you're only eating animals once a week. And what you'll find if you do decide to go on this journey is that once you haven't been eating animals for a while, you don't miss it, you don't crave it, and you don't feel the need to have it. That said, you have to be making sure that you're making smart food choices when you are vegetarian or vegan. You've got to be making sure you have enough protein in the forms of things like, broccoli has protein in it. Quinoa is a very good source of protein. Beans, our kids love beans. Tempehs, there are lots of things. There's a whole list I can actually add in this Tez Talks. I'll add a link to a list of non-meat based protein. But yeah, just make that commitment for yourself. Just start to make the small steps to becoming a healthier person. You'll feel amazing. You'll feel good about yourself. It's wonderful for the environment, and it just takes you making that choice. Do it today. Say, all right, this week, this is what I'm going for. This is what I'm trying this week. Tomorrow I'm going to the grocery store and my shopping trolley is going to be full of fruits and veggies, and I'm committing to that. So just give it a go and see how you do. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Bye.